Hey friends, thanks for tuning in to listen to Marsha and I's bonus content. We're about to jump in and talk about a section of her book, Soulful Joy, where she talks about the 10 things she wished she'd known. And I think you're going to identify with all 10. These are very helpful tips, so let's get in there. You have this section in your book, 10 things I wish I'd known. And don't we all have at least 10 things we'd wish we'd have known a little sooner? Yeah, like your title is not who you are. Whether it's your job title or even like, say you don't have a career and you're listening, your title as mom, as homemaker, whatever title has been given to you by others, that is not who you are,
No.
right? That feels
And
strong.
because identity and there's some great authors who speak. I think Eckhart Tolle speaks about identity and just how we're formed from as little children of who we are, and very kind of like as separate individuals, and who we are. We're all grasping for something like that, a name, a title, and
Because you
when
feel
it's
important.
when
Yeah.
it's taken away, who are we? And especially when we place so much importance to it, and letting that go and just saying, who am I beneath this? And what is my purpose versus a title at work, a title of even, raising children. When they leave
Mhm.
the house, it's, oh no, now what do I do? Right. So,
Yeah. Who the hell am I? Yep.
right. Early knowing or owning, and it's not that I didn't explore who I was outside of some of those titles. However, it's just easy to kind of hold on to them, and you're asked for it all the time.
Yeah.
How do you want to describe yourself? Who are you?
Yep.
And learning just kind of a different method in that, and saying, for me, I'm here to love. I'm here to show love and light, to this world.
In every setting,
And
because doesn't exclude the corporate world.
right.
Because sometimes we think it does, but nope,
It
you
doesn't.
got to bring
Nope.
that love everywhere, whether we like it or not. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay. And then number 2, you have stay in your power. Do you have any tips for staying in your power? What helped you with that?
Mm.
And what do you mean exactly?
Yeah. So it's easier to kind of describe it as when I gave up my power. And there was a couple of different circumstances when job changes, promised roles or
Mhm.
promotions or titles or situations. Someone took my idea and made it theirs, and realizing I had some grievance in those, and really reverted a little bit back into victim mode of, why is this happening to me? And in hindsight, I honor that experience, but then let it go. Let it go as fast as possible, because people, back to the energy, they can read your energy, they can see your power. And when we are, um, have sorrow inside, when we have grievance inside, that propels, and our clients see it, our colleagues see it, our friends see it. And just so coming back to honoring and just saying that situation happened when I realized no one has the power to actually do anything to me, and I could release that.
Yeah.
That was also freeing. And if I had done that even earlier in my career, it would allow a lot more room for joy
Oh, yeah.
instead of holding on to
Uh-huh.
things. So I encourage, people, whether it's career, whether, on the soccer field with your friend's mom, right? Of, when the personality gets in the way, when someone did or didn't do something, letting that go.
Yeah.
And it's just
Stay in
such
your
an
own power.
easier.
Yeah. My God. Okay. I love this one. She's got, there's no need to defend yourself. Say more,
Oh,
Marcia.
I have a little bit of chills when you said that again, because when I read it, and I read it actually from A Course in Miracles, and I really pondered it. I said, what does this really even mean? Well, of course I need to defend myself. And what if they think differently or make an assumption about me, or they don't have all the facts? And once I gave that up, wow. And if I had done that earlier in my life, and it's just a little bit of tweaking, because answering questions versus defensiveness is just such a better way, speaking in truth of facts versus needing to maybe convince someone. It's just such a revelation in my life and gave me a lot more freedom of, I don't need to be understood by everyone.
No, you're
I
never
can
going to
let
be. Mm-mm.
that go.
No, if someone's in a situation right now where you're like, this is not me. They don't understand what I'm saying at all. Like they're not getting it. What do you do? Is there something you say in your own mind, something you say out loud to that person? What's the technique there to get out of it?
It's honestly more of the energy of how I am portraying or answering the questions than doing anything entirely different. I think it's taking a step back and saying, what's coming up for me right now?
Mhm.
Am I feeling defensive? Honor that, but then reframe and come back to what my position, or I can still have my opinions. I can still share when people are curious. I can still share those facts. I don't have to let it go. It's not just a cower and
Yeah, no.
not speak to the truth. But then be okay with how it lands. If that truth for me, if it's true for me and it lands differently for someone else, let it be.
Yeah, that's not your business. Yeah.
Not my business. I
No,
love
no.
that.
It's not your business what other people think about you, right? That's what you
Right.
hear all the time. Oh, geez. Okay, I love that. You only need your own approval. Kind of goes
Mhm.
along that same line. You're going to follow your own path, right? And you don't actually need anyone else's approval.
No. I believe I read that originally from one of Michael Singer's books, and I think it was either that or a podcast of his or something, of
Mhm.
just saying, how ridiculous is it for you to think you need someone else's approval? Who are they even? And it just led to this picture of, where have I put people up on pedestals? Why do I care? And whose advice do I seek from? Just letting that go and back to staying in my truth. This is my life. I don't need someone else.
You did this really good, Marcia. I noticed this at our retreat. You're good at this because sometimes, let's say someone who, like you said, we look up to them. They're our little
Mhm.
gurus, right? They're little shamans for us in our journey. And even sometimes something would be presented. And I loved when Marsha would be like, yeah, I don't think I see it exactly that way. And then you would explain your side. I loved it. So, no, you're practicing what you preach because it is easier for us when we're in these journeys to fall into whatever the current book we're reading, the current course we're taking, to just fall too deep in where we're not staying true to ourselves. We do have to still always look through the lens, what's true for me.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think it's confusing about spirituality in that, because especially how we were raised, it is kind of this fear aspect. And then you find someone interesting, a spiritual teacher, a spiritual author, and we forget that they are human and they have different opinions,
Yep.
different experiences, and we can disagree. We can be okay with that. And just
Yeah.
everything that's, quite frankly, going on in the spiritual community in the past, few months, even, of um, uh, realizing that there's some spiritual teachers who really weren't in full alignment and integrity, and not holding on, the word guru. Learn a little bit. And that's where I can get back to, what's my intuition, and is it ego driven, or is it from
Yes.
source, from God? And just honoring humanness, and not needing to put anyone down for what they believe, but when it's my truth in a different way, that was fun sharing. So yeah, I've learned to be okay with
Exactly.
that. Letting go of some people pleasing, right?
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one because it is hard to someone you go up to presenting this whole amazing course or whatever, to say like, I don't know if I can get on
Yeah,
board with all of it, which is what religious deconstruction
yeah,
was too. You keep some parts of it, right? Some of it still rings
yeah,
true
absolutely.
for me anyway, from Christianity or whatever.
Oh,
Some of it still, it feels very close to my heart, but then you have to be able to say like, but
right.
not all of it. Right. And that's
Mhm.
okay. And that's the same with me. I'll read someone's book or I'll do a new spiritual course or, hear what they have to say. And then you really have to feel into what resonates for
Yes.
me in this
Yeah.
lifetime, right? Because you don't have to get fully on board with
No.
everybody. And that's I think that's a tricky part of the
It
spiritual
is.
journey is really fine tuning your intuition so well that you just
Mhm.
feel it in
Yeah.
your bones. You get those tingles, you get that feeling in your gut where you're like,
Yeah.
nope, that's
Yeah.
not for me, not
Yeah.
right now.
Absolutely.
Or, yep, I'm all
Right.
in on that one. Yeah. And then you also say you let your grievances go quickly. How do you do that, Marcia?
Oh,
Because we can ruminate on stuff for a real long
yes,
time.
we can.
Uh huh.
You know, the F word, forgiveness. And
Mm,
first for me, when I was writing my book, and I went through a process. First of all, I'd never written a book, let alone a memoir. And thinking through, as I look back at my life, I feel like I could only hone in on the quote mistakes I had made through that journey, or things in reflection, I wish I'd done a different way. And what that ultimately led me to was a very kind of intense process of forgiveness. First, for forgiving myself for mistakes, and just letting that go and seeing God's love in that. And then it was very much, okay, now you need to look deep and say, where am I holding any grievance towards anybody in my life? And not that I
mm,
was holding it
yeah.
to anyone on a daily basis, but when I left the corporate world and kind of corporate detox, I literally could be like, oh, that asshole that did X, Y, and Z. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, I'm carrying that because that thought popped up about that person. And once I was able to realize I just needed to let that go. And I did. It wasn't like I didn't in my career, but I realized just do it faster and let the ego go. The ego is the one that's holding
Yeah.
on to it, and back to, no one has the power to do anything to you. So, okay, then I'm the one that's carrying this. This other person isn't. And and that doesn't mean always letting them off the hook. It is
No.
it is just freeing and allowing, or making sure there's no resistance energy that is happening and holding on to something that isn't allowing my self, my, joyful energy to flow.
Yes, because we don't forgive others for them, we forgive for
Absolutely.
us. It's not about letting
Yeah.
them off the hook. Like, it's letting
Yeah.
us off the hook,
Yes,
honestly, right?
absolutely.
Like, the whole point of the darn thing. And then you talk about comparison is about fear. So you're talking about comparing yourself
Mm,
to others, which we
yeah.
all do, especially I feel like as we get older and our bodies are really turning to shit. Um, I mean, that's one aspect of our bodies, but we do compare ourselves to others a
We
lot.
do, and we compare ourselves in both ways. Well, at least I don't look like that. Or then what am I worried about is, yeah, as you said, our aging bodies. I think, our creator has a funny way of saying, okay, as our bodies age, it kind of forces us to look inward and say, the beautiful thing
Mhm.
is our life force energy does not age. And when we think about energy, and that's that power, you notice when someone walks into a room and you don't even look at their physical body anymore, because you just look at their spirit and their energy. And when I think about that, and when I can apply that to myself, and some days it's easier than others, and to just say,
Mhm.
what are the words I'm using towards me, towards other people, shifting to those two words of compassion, words of love, reframing comparison a different way. Again, super liberating.
I just love that little quote you just said. Our life force, did you say our life force
Our
doesn't
life force
age?
energy does not age.
Yes, because really our soul, our spirit, it doesn't age. It's just this darn little meat suit we live
Exactly.
in. Yeah.
Exactly. And most of it is just
Yes, we live
energy
it.
itself, right? And it's
Yes,
not our
it's all
skin.
energy.
And when we can go, I actually can influence how I come across when I get into the understanding of my energy and how I come across. I feel like then no one's, I mean, we still look at each other because that's the personality and the body, but it reframes it. And it's super helpful to do that.
It does, because if you can walk into a room and light it up with your energy and your frequency, there's not anybody in that room really caring about the 10 pounds you just
Exactly.
gained. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Hun
it's not going to be noticeable.
absolutely.
Versus if you come in low energy and really negative, then maybe people are going to start noticing, why is she so negative? Oh, well, she
Right.
gained 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like your energy you put off is super
Yes.
important. Yeah. Then, all right, listen, you say there is more to any situation than just the
Mm.
facts.
It goes
Mhm.
back a little bit to how I was raised. Check the box, do all the things, and get things done. Just be a hard worker. And it's
Yeah.
not that those things are wrong, but it is take the time, whether it's a job that you're getting paid for, whether it is a conversation, look at the humanness and just the relatability. And I had to get shit done for my clients. And so, but what I realized is I could have even done it even more better with my colleagues and been able to paint a story, give them a better experience, if you will, than, hey, I delivered all of this. And that could come through better in sales presentation pitches or just
Yeah.
work, any aspect really of life.
All of us are too much in ego sometimes. Like, I can get all this done. I don't need any help,
Yeah.
right? If you want it done right, do it
Yeah.
yourself. That's what we're told. Do it yourself versus, hey, let me look at the bigger picture. Like, maybe some people have some strengths I'm not
Yeah.
noticing that I don't actually have.
Absolutely.
I think I do, but I
Right.
don't have it. Yeah.
Yeah. And getting really in touch with what you're good at and where you can tap into other resources is certainly a huge part of that.
Yeah. Oh, apply the art of the allowing
Mm.
often. Okay, what's this art of the allowing? Tell everybody.
So another part of Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction, this one came to me very vividly during COVID. And I lived in Atlanta and I had been on kind of a FaceTime, I don't know, happy hour with some of my girlfriends and hadn't watched the news that night. And I woke up in the morning, and that's when all of the riots happened in Atlanta and lots of destruction, a lot of bricks in storefronts. And I just kept searching and searching and searching for answers of why is this happening, and really could apply it to almost any life situation. I scoured the news, social media, looking for answers. And the next morning I woke up Sunday morning and said, I'm not doing what I did yesterday. That did not yield any results. So I came across the Law of Attraction book and the Art of Allowing. What it really spoke to me was everyone is here fulfilling a purpose of their life path. And some people are going to choose to fulfill that in seemingly destructive ways. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know what they're motivated. I don't know their past history, former life. Why are they here? What do they need to learn? But I can let that go. I can allow them to do what they need to do. For me, and again, it's energy, not condone, but allow. And that's again back to the freedom of how it was freedom and liberation for me to let people to do that. And so I apply it, now in certain situations or with work situations and remind it when people are behaving a certain way that doesn't jive with me, let them. Mel Robbins has kind of the same thing with her
Yeah,
let
let
them
them
book
theory. Yep.
theory. Yeah. And
Yep.
it's we don't have to understand it. We don't need to change them. And they often need compassion. They just need our love. And I'm not saying that in a day with that I don't have the same issues. My personality, my ego comes up that rubs people the wrong way. So it's all of us kind of
Yeah,
just
we all do.
letting each other be, if you will.
Yes. Because essentially we're not going to be able to change it all, right? Like, we may feel a pull towards certain things that we'd like to help with, because I think there is that yin and yang, that balance, right? If everyone was perfect and doing everything perfectly, why would we even all be
Absolutely.
here? There would be zero lessons being learned,
Exactly.
like none. So, and we don't know, like you said, the intention behind what other people
Right.
are doing. We don't know the intention, and we're not here to judge the intention, right? Because we probably as humans aren't able to zoom out as far back as we should to really see why it's happening. Because there's probably some big, amazing plan we don't even know about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Then we've got number 9, incorporate high vibrational methods that enable greater inspiration.
Yeah. So back to the energy, right? So in my work, there was a lot of last minute requests for presentations, for proposals, time, hurry up, do this. So we just dive into preparing that in work and then in other areas, whatever task we're doing, stop and prepare with intention. And sometimes that's music, dance. How do I feel in my body? Do I feel good? And then I can bring better ideas to the table. I think I can do even some things faster when I'm in that right frame of mind versus, oh my goodness, I just got this proposal and it's due in a week and I don't have time and this isn't fair. And why is this client doing this? And just reframing the response. And that's the same in anything, any situation, even preparing to meet with you. I'm like, how do I want to feel? And turn on some music, dance a little bit and just get in my body because our body.
Okay, thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you next week, and make sure you check out the show notes. Click all of Marcia's links, and you've got to get this book, Soulful Joy. And remember, if it's not love, it's fear.
Bodies will tell us, and they kind of influence our mind and our spirit. And we want to be in that feel good state.
Absolutely. Like, you got to pull yourself out of the grind sometimes. And I don't just mean at your job, in life, right? Just all your tasks at home, whatever's going on. And Emily talks a lot about taking these little breaks too. Like, sometimes I've incorporated some of her 2-song dance parties, right? You just stop what you're doing. You throw on a couple of your favorite songs. Sometimes I'll even just do a playlist and hit shuffle and let the universe decide which 2 songs, right? And then you just move your body because you're getting out those stored feelings or whatever's going on. And sometimes after just like those 2 songs, you view your task you were doing completely differently.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel so heavy or it doesn't feel so mundane anymore.
Food, if you're not a cook, enjoy that. Washing the dishes.
Yourself up and dinner. Yeah, you're like, all right, I'm gonna need a dance party before I do this shit. Yeah, no, like just stopping or even just going outside. You talk a lot about how nature's really important for you, but even just stopping what you're doing, go outside, get some sunshine, walk around in the damn grass for, not long. This doesn't have to be a huge break in your day, you guys. And then come back and you might just be like, oh, I feel a little bit higher vibe. I think I can conquer the rest of my day now. Whereas 5 minutes ago, I kind of wanted to go to bed for the day, right? I want to go in my bed and maybe not wake up again until tomorrow. But you can now you can maybe deal with it a little bit better when you do all those things. Okay, I love that. High vibe methods, guys. This isn't rocket science. This is simple high vibe stuff. This isn't like, you don't need to take a whole course on that. Okay, so this is her big finale number 10 here. And you go by this a lot. You even gave me a bookmark for my book that said something along these lines. If you are not choosing love, you're choosing fear. Okay. You got to tell us all about this theory. If you're not choosing love, you're choosing fear.
So breaking it down into, what is fear? And there's some different nicknames about it, right? Or acronyms, false evidence appearing real. And fear is, to me, when we live both in the past with shame, with regret, should have, would have, could have done, or we worry about the future and that what hasn't. And it's not to say that we're not going to get rid of all worry. So when fear does show up in whatever form it is a reframe first in love has many names or attributes. And when something comes up, just even a reframe to compassion and saying, okay, why is that fear coming up? Love it. What does it need sometimes? Sometimes just to be witnessed, to be honored, to go, yeah, I can understand how you're worrying about that particular event coming up. Oh, honor that. Be with it. Don't crush it down. And then figure out a way maybe to release it and come back to love. There's so many attributes, even in the corporate world, right? Where it just got stuck in so many notions of being, unfortunately, focusing on attributes of fear, in comparison, unhealthy competition. All of those are really fear-based versus love. And it's not that you don't need to make a profit. It's not about, in the corporate world, there's just a better angle and a better way that is more about collaboration. It is about compassion. It is about grace. It is, teamwork in a new and different way. So it applies really to all aspects of our life.
You guys need this book, Marcia. You need to print that off and put it like right on your mirror. Yeah. Okay, so those are the 10 things. Okay, thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you next week. And make sure you check out the show notes, click all of Marcia's links, and you've got to get this book, Soulful Joy. And remember, if it's not love, it's fear. Listen, I know your time is valuable. And right now, I'm feeling super grateful and totally humbled that you chose to hang out with me today. If this podcast resonates with you, could you do me a solid and hit that subscribe or follow button? That's going to help you out because you're never going to miss an episode. And it helps me out because you're never going to miss an episode. And if you have like 30 seconds more, could you leave a 5-star rating and maybe leave a kick-ass review? Thank you so much, and I can't wait to continue our journey on the next episode. Oh, and I can't forget the fine print. You know, the legal jargon. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We're just two friends on this journey together, and this podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or any other qualified professional. You get it. See you next time.